Will do. You too. All right, cool. I backtracked a little bit, so this is the scenic overlook that I passed on the way. I planned to come back here last night, but yeah. So key points of the 12-mile beach campground. There's a long ass gravel road that goes to it, and then I was at the far back side of the campground. So basically, once I finally made it to my campsite, I didn't want to get back on the bike to leave. I didn't really want to mess around with that gravel a bunch of times. Doable, but it's not something I want to be doing a bunch. Not on this, anyway. I don't have an ADV bike. I don't have a dirt bike. I don't have a dune crawler. There was a bunch of those dune crawlers back in Grand Marais. That might be kind of a fun, different type of vacay to take. Go and rent one of those dune crawlers, and I saw there was a bunch of trails through the forest there, probably made just for those. Or probably some kind of touring company. That was just a group of motorcyclists back there. They were headed the other way. They were headed around the lake, but the other direction. One dude was from Holland, so yeah. Fun stuff. Alright, so it's only 2 miles away. I only went back 2 miles. There was another thing I wanted to see last night, which is to go back to that Sabel, or whatever Sabel, some kind of other thing back there. Whatever. More, you know, I don't want to do everything this time, right? Because I'm probably going to come back here in other years. Maybe not next year, but there'll be another year. And I don't want to have done everything, right? I think it would take a long time to do everything. Like, Michigan is packed full of stuff. All right, so there is the campground. And then Pictured Rocks, and he said there was an overlook over there. Pictured Rocks Cliff, that's 28 miles away. Alright. And they were on touring cruisers, so if they could get to whatever that overlook is, then I don't think it's an off-road kind of dealie. Yeah, so it's pretty cloudy today. There was some fog. Maybe still a little fog. And there was just a little sprinkling on and off, which makes a lot of sense now why I saw lichen, a bunch of moss everywhere, a bunch of mushrooms. There was mushrooms growing in the sand. There was sand shrooms. I've never seen sand shrooms. I took pictures. The ferns here are interesting. They turn like different colors. Like they're doing their fall die-off thing. You know, I've seen ferns. I don't know that I've ever seen them do that. I thought that ferns, I guess I've seen ferns around Illinois, but I mean, I guess I'm used to seeing these kind of, these tall, these big, big prevalent forest ferns. I guess I'm used to seeing in Washington when I lived there. And those ones don't do that. So it must be a different variety, different breed or whatever of fern out there that the weather today is almost, the entire scene right now is almost indistinguishable from something you might see in the Pacific Northwest. I wonder if it's like maybe just always like that this time of year in this area. I mean, obviously you know, come winter, right, the lake is going to freeze over. Once you get enough lake ice, probably the microclimate stops happening for a little while. So it does probably get brittle cold here for a short while. You know, winter sterilization. And that definitely, that doesn't happen in Washington. I guess it might happen up in the mountains. I mean, it gets snow up there. It freezes. Probably doesn't get quite as cold as it gets here, but yeah, loving all the pines, pine needles, all over in those pine forests, you get that kind of pine needle desert thing going on down there. There's not a lot of underbrush. But yeah, I read the information. There wasn't anybody that checks you in here. This was you just, like, reservation only. So you either go online or you call and make your reservation to stay. It's done through the DNR, I think. Or I don't know, whatever, some federal thing. Recreation.gov. All right, campground. I mean, I guess if I were going there just to kind of take in the lake and all that, probably would have picked a campsite on the lake side. I picked the one back on the forest side, which I guess there wasn't any plan there. There really wasn't any plan. I was overwhelmed in the days because I was originally, I don't know, I was so back and forth when in the planning stage for this thing about whether I was going to reserve places to sleep each night. And I hem-hawed and I waited forever. And between I'm not going to, I'm just going to play it by ear. And then, oh God, what if there's nowhere to stay? I should probably book places. It's pretty chill on the weekdays, this time of year anyway. Oh, I know that going forward. Yeah, I eventually, like, very, very last minute, like the night before I left, just went ahead and booked all this shit all in one go. So I booked, 3 campgrounds and 2 hotels. So all the logistics that I'm cramming into like 3 hours as I'm, trying to figure out all this stuff. And so State Forest Campground, a lot of campgrounds. There's a lake back there. Anyway, yeah, so I did not have time to, like, rationalize all of the decision making. It was really just sort of, well, this is, happy accidents when they happen and learning from mistakes when they don't. And yeah, just kind of a good scouting mission, for future adventures. I'll definitely be back up here on a motorcycle for sure during this time of year. I mean, it kind of, it's a little unfortunate that the leaves aren't further along in the changing, color changing and whatnot, but to me, I feel like the trade-off, because it's going to be cold next month. Even with the insulating effect of the Great Lakes, it's still, well, I mean, I don't know. I've never experienced it, so, I don't live up here. I don't experience all the nuances of the different seasons and stuff, but you can get cold snaps. And this area, I'm sure, gets cold snaps. I mean, from what I understand about this area, it can get some wild weather. So, is that a privately owned campground? Yeah, I'm loving this. This is definitely giving Washington vibes. This is probably the closest thing that I've experienced to Washington, you know, in the Midwest. But yet it's got its own thing going, which I like. You know, it does get super hot here. Maybe not right here. Maybe not in this little UP area. Little, I say little. Not maybe not in the UP area up here. I don't know. Because I like to monitor the national, or not, yeah, or whatever, like the North America weather map thing. You know, when I'm checking the weather, I like to look at the radar and zoom out and just kind of look and, you know, observe the weather patterns throughout the year of the different places and stuff. And like this area, this UP area, does seem to have its own kind of thing going on. Obviously, there is, you know, it's not going to be vastly, you know, it's not going to be California or West Coast kind of weather, but well, I mean, you know, they got a thriving fruit. What the heck is growing there? Is that all lichen? Whoa, that is a lot of lichen. It's like a field of lichen. It's crazy. Oh, there's another one. I think that's what that is. Yeah. Like an entire field of lichen. Now, I've never seen that. That's a new one. I mean, even in the UK, where there's lichen everywhere, I've never seen a straight up field of lichen. That is wild. I wonder if it's like the sandy soil has something to do with it. 'Cause, yeah, I noticed a lot of Michigan has sandy soil. Oh man, this is amazing. There's like hardly anyone on the road right now. Oh, except the motorcycle. But that's fine, because I don't mind seeing motorcycles. Oh, my phone died for some reason. Apparently that's the difference between, because when I was over at the falls, I had, you know, that kind of like the R symbol, the roaming symbol. So I had full bars, but it was roaming when I was over at the falls. Well, last night, I just had the black bar, right? Or like the black triangle, right? Like no signal whatsoever. And it drained my phone overnight. I didn't realize that that was the difference between the two. Because I remember back in the day that I'm pretty sure both situations would drain your phone. But then eventually, somehow, I got a phone and it stopped happening. And I mean, this was a problem for me because I was in the Navy. And so I was like frequently in areas that didn't have signal. Or where I would have roaming. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I was confusing them. Maybe it's always been like that. Maybe roaming was always fine and the black triangle was not. I didn't have enough direct comparison between the two. It was always sort of like when there was one, there was kind of the other, you know? It'd be like, we'd be like out in the harbor and you'd slowly lose your signal as the ship moves further and further from the land, and then you go to roaming mode, and then you go to black triangle mode, and then your phone's dead, right? And so I guess to me, I just sort of lumped it all together as like, well, yeah, you just, as soon as that happens, you just. But then eventually, I don't know, it just seemed like I got into roaming areas and my phone was fine, and so I was like, oh, maybe they just fixed whatever this. Maybe it was just a problem of early phones, you know? No, apparently that's not the case. Apparently, roaming is fine. Black triangle, not fine. Go into airplane mode with black triangle, I guess. The black triangle of death, of phone death, total phone death. But luckily I got the phone on the charger here. I did find out, so, because I've been really cautious about not leaving stuff plugged in to the motorcycle while it is turned off and sitting. So I didn't want to drain, you know, I don't want to have a dead motorcycle battery. That just seems like a pain in the rumpus. And so, but at the falls, you know, you get complacent, right? Something. You get complacent with something. And I would rather have it be this than something, you know, directly safety related. But I left my little batteries, my GoPro battery charger thing plugged in and just forgot about it overnight. And I was like sweating in the morning when I woke up and realized that. It's like, oh, no. Well, I mean, the GoPro batteries were charged, so that was good, fully charged. So at least I started out with full batteries. But man, yeah, I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to have to. I mean, luckily I do have motorcycle jumper cables, right? I got the jumper cables with the little pigtail end or whatever. But I didn't really want to have to go bother somebody, you know, to get a jump off of them. Especially, a lot of people are weird about that these days. They're driving around these $50,000, you know, trucks and stuff. Like, they don't want some hoodlum, you know, some hoodlum on a motorcycle clamping shit to it and blowing up their battery, you know, for $50,000 truck. I would say a truck that costs half of a house, but shit, you probably can't even get a house for $100 grand these days now. But it survived. The motorcycle battery has more capacity than, or you know, it has enough capacity to make it through a little abuse. So that's good. Good to know. So technically, I probably could have just left my phone on the charger, but you know, I'm not gonna take unnecessary risks. And actually, I didn't even know that that my phone was gonna be dead in the morning. I had almost a full charge when I went to sleep. That thing just drained away while I was snoozing. I was charging and it was draining. Maybe a black bear, crept into my tent at night and used my phone to send drunk texts to his exes. Those black bears, you know, you never know. They had those food boxes to put anything that could potentially smell like food into a box that was, you know, located kind of in the center of the campground area. And the trash bins that had the special locks that you got to put your hand in and push a thing on the inside of it in order to get it open. I guess so raccoons probably can't, you know, so raccoons can't get into it. But also bears, right? Also bears. But yeah, they had, I mean, from there, they didn't have anybody to greet me and go over this with me, but, you know, if you actually stopped and read the sign, they were pretty serious about that stuff. You know, this is bear country, you know, don't leave any kind of food stuff, you know, only have it out, you know, for the immediate time that you're using it, and then you put it away either in a rigid, you know, thing like a car or whatever. I had mine in my top box, which, I mean, okay, so it's not as like structurally secure as a car, but I mean, he's not getting the top box open. He might push the motorcycle, you know, if it's a bear, he might push the motorcycle over, but he's not going to get the top box open. But I wasn't really concerned about it. I had everything inside containers also. I bought a leak-proof thingy from Walmart when I was in Traverse City, because I brought these Trader Joe's kind of canned, it was a thing of canned, it was 3 different ones, but they come in these big, like these wide cans, these like short wide cans, and one of them is like marinated chickpeas, one of them is dolma, you know, like rice wrapped in olive leaf or whatever that is, and then another one was like kidney beans and like this kind of olive oil tomato sauce, you know, kind of marinated thing. Anyway, they're fine until you open them, and then you got to do something with them, right? You either got to eat them there on the spot, which those are more, they're not really meal things. They're more kind of like something that you might flavor a meal with, you know, kind of like garnish or whatever. Or, yeah, I don't know. They're very oily. So it's not something that you just want to like sit and cram one of those. You might have weird poops after. So you got to kind of, you know, open it, do a little bit with them, and then put them somewhere. And so I got this leak-proof container. So yeah, I didn't really have a whole lot of super smelly stuff anyway. Spent some time down by the beach yesterday. Pretty nice. My toe is doing well. The wrap came off. I think it came off in my sleeping bag. I'm gonna have to fetch that before I wash it. But that toe seems all right. The other one is still bugging me a little bit, so luckily that bandage stayed on, so I'm just gonna leave that thing on and deal with it when I get to the hotel room today. So there's an overlook, but then I was also maybe going to try to go up to that, I don't remember if it's Miners something or other, or Chapel something or other. There was one of them that looked accessible from the road, and there was one that did not. So the one that was accessible from the road, I'm going to see about checking that out. Looks like some of the fog might be dissipating a little bit. Which I don't mind the fog. I like this. Motorcyclists, you know, they pulled up and they're talking to each other, and it's like, yeah, I was hoping that the fog would get burned off. I'm like, no, don't burn the fog off. I like the fog. I want to see foggy cliffs. I like fog. So I've just been making this basically gumbo on these camping nights. I've been tweaking it and tweaking it. Now at this point I've just used up some ingredients, so I guess if I were to make it again, it would be different. But which I wonder if that's how gumbo came about. I wonder if it was just like random shit that was laying around that people just threw into a pot and cooked. It's kind of what it seems like. But I started with this ramen pack. You know, so I got my little boiler, my little pot thing, that, you know, my little camping thing. I filled that with water, get it starting to get hot, almost to a boil. You know, throw the ramen noodles in there. Throw some peanuts in there. I had those marinated chickpeas I put in there. I had some what is it? Tofurkey sausages. Those are actually a good thing to have camping because they don't, they're not gonna like get nasty on you, because they're a pretty solid, like almost like kind of shelf stable product, like they can be. I don't know if you're supposed to keep them at room temp when they're unopened. Maybe you're supposed to keep them refrigerated. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, they do well. So you can have them like just out at room temperature for a few days and they'll be fine. Which is good while you're camping. Hey, there's some fog action. But yeah, so that was good. So I just cut that in a little bit and threw 3 little bits in there. What else did I put in there? I just threw a couple of the dolmas in there as well. And then, they kind of separate out, so then the rice, it just turns into like these little rice balls, and then the olive leaf just kind of floats around in there, Which, like, if I were making a soup or whatever at home, I might throw spinach or something in there anyway, right? So, or like greens of some kind, so, that works out. I couldn't read that. There was too much stuff going on that sign. Might have signal now. It's a town, I guess, some kind. There is a gas pump. I'm going over the line. One gawk over the line. Sweet Jesus. Yeah, that's my gumbo. Got the seasoning pack from the ramen. I did not use all of the seasoning because, and I have these freeze-dried vegetables. They're basically like ramen vegetables, kind of like the ones you would get in a pack of ramen, but it's just the vegetables. I ordered them online. So I filled up a Ziploc with some of those. I didn't fill it up, but I put some of those in a Ziploc. And I've been taking the seasoning pack out of, and dumping it. I've been pouring a little bit of, because it's just too much in that seasoning pack. It's too salty. And those ramen seasoning packs, way too much salt. I feel like I'm like sodium ODing, and I still had a bunch of unused seasoning salt in that thing. But anyway, yeah, season it with that ramen pack and throwing a bunch of those freeze-dried veggies. And now he said there was an overlook. And there was a sign back there, and I don't know what the hell it said. There was too much on the sign, I couldn't read it all at once. And they were like long words, I think. I have simple brain. Must use short word. Or if it's like a Native American word, I'm like, bro, I'm flying past here on a motorcycle. I ain't got time to decipher this hieroglyphic, all right? I'm like fishing around for some English words around it real quick so I can recognize what the hell I'm reading. Otherwise, it's all just Greek to me. Big ass long word that my brain is just completely lost. Brain is categories. Let me see, was there anything else in the gumbo? Oh, I think maybe the first night I still had some of those black kidney beans, the marinated kidney beans, so I threw some of those in. Because I hadn't opened the chickpeas yet, or the dolma. Oh, and these hash brown potatoes. Oh, well, while I was at the falls, I actually had brought 3 potatoes from my garden. Just rinsed them off and dried them and put them in a Ziploc. I guess I didn't really need to put them in a Ziploc. I didn't even seal it, because I didn't want it to kind of, start molding or something in there. But it was, I guess it was just another way to have a Ziploc with it. You can never have too many, I guess you can have too many, but, maybe bring one more Ziploc and one more grocery bag than you think you'll need on such a trip, because you'll need it. And 2 more napkins than you think you'll need. The water situation has been good. There's been water at all these campsites. I think the only one that I ever went to that didn't have it was that stupid Lake Shelbyville. And they would have had it, but their drinking fountains were out of order. They were too busy pandering to the boat and RV clientele, because that's probably their moneymaker. Oh yeah, and we offer tent camping also for you poor bastards. You financially disabled, financially challenged. Oh man, this is great. The air is a little damp, and I thought it was going to be a little chilly, but it feels good actually. It is a little on the cool side. All right, what do we got here? Boosting Falls. Okay, that's 4 miles. And of course, again, I didn't read what the top one was, which was probably the closest thing. I don't even know what it didn't even have. Whatever the top thing was, I'm gonna have to go back through this footage and see what the hell that said. Whatever the top one was, it didn't have a miles thing, so it must have been whatever that was back there. Or maybe it was just saying you're in a certain area. I don't know. Anyway, 4 miles to the Mucining thing. I wonder if I've already passed that overlook. Anyway, I really want to go to this rock thing. And you can get to that, even if I make it all the way into Mucining by accident. There's a road that goes out from there to it. So, at least from what I saw when I looked at the map. Man, this is awesome. Ah. The scenery here. And like I was saying, there's stuff here that you cannot see in the Pacific Northwest. There's ecosystems here. There's huge swaths of forest that look a certain way that I've never seen before. Like, this is awesome. I've never seen anything like it. So when I say, oh, this is cool, it's kind of like the Pacific Northwest, like, yeah, there's certain aspects that feel like that, but also, like I said, it's got its own thing going on, which is awesome. But I think most places have something going on. It's just you got to find it. Even Illinois's got some stuff going on. I mean, farmland, especially certain, in the spring and stuff like that. Certain little prairie areas and woodland areas, out near rural farms. Yeah, there's beauty. There's definitely beauty. Lots of variation, lots of variety of all this stuff. Okay, road is not so great right now, but I have had pretty damn good luck with the roads. They have been in very good condition. Okay, and now we're back to a decent road again here in just a minute. Yeah, there we go. Okay, well, if that's the worst of it, then I'll allow it. That actually wasn't that bad. It just looked bad. It would have been bad if I was further on to the right of it, but the middle part seemed all right. So yeah, I wonder if I'm heading into town. Huh. Oh well. Maybe that's the overlook he was talking about. The world may never know. I'm gonna have to probably try to upload or do something with some of this footage or buy another SD card. Oh yeah, there we go, half mile. I'll bet that's what he was talking about. Perfect. Anyway, I think I'll switch it over to time-lapse after this, because I don't want to eat up all my storage. It's not even a battery issue now, it's the storage. I've simply seen too much. Oh, come on, bird, get the hell out of here. Oh, is this it? Oh, is this it? I think this might be it. Wait, is this it? I wonder if I have signal right now. I think I downloaded some offline maps, but I don't know if they go this far. Alright, anyway, that's it for now. This is Sand Point.